Wait, who's on?
Oh no, it was a joke.
Yeah.
Mike's camera shows he's Patrick Kinnaman.
Ah. Oh, there's 6 people on. Haha. Who's all on? I'm on my portal, so I'm trying to. I'm showing the laser job. The laser modules too. That's kind of a little hard to see with that, but it's pretty good.
Drew, that's the Raspberry Pi image, right? Is that just
Yeah,
Source
just a
SVG, or where'd you get that?
Yeah, Vector. I actually got it off my Adobe stock. I bought a license, unlimited license off the Adobe stock. I was in a Vector. I was like, wait, I have 10 credits for unlimited licenses. I was like, shit, I'm just doing that. I do it all the time. It's actually really good.
It looks great. It looks great. That
it is, yeah. I was thinking something I'm testing. I'm like, there might be stuff I can put up on my walls. So
yep. You've got it really accurate and and calibrated and everything.
Yeah, it's funny because like that one over there, I keep calibrated stuff because we do all kinds of projects. That one, this one, I've been mostly using for my testing rig. So I've been running it for months, not even calibrated. Like I've just been running it. It's like, so I have some on the back side of these other ones where. Here's some test stuff. Oh yeah, I had some test ones where I was doing test stuff, and you get like it was just like everything was cutting like all sideways and stuff. But
is that 1/4 inch stock that you're using, like 2x4? Well,
yeah. So this one I'm using here is it's like a 4 millimeter. Just I don't know. I'm actually a really crappy woodworker, but this wood stuff. It's $13 at Home Depot. It was $13. It may be like $300 now. I don't know. I had a bunch of sheets of it. I used to use it for everything because it was cheap and it works great. And we use it in laser cutting for all kinds of projects. But yeah, it was $13. I'm just terrified to look now how much it's going to be. Yeah.
Which one do you have there, Drew? Is that the 7 watt or the 2.5 or 2.8 watt?
That's a 7 watt, and I've got the 15 watt here, which I've been working with. So I've been trying to get the TTL logic all. This is a 7 watt or 15 watt, and it's nice. This one has an air assist, which is nice. And so, I mean, this is a 20.
And are those from? Is that one from JTech too, or is that from someone else?
No, this is from Endurance. And so this one's a little bit different. It's using a little bit different PPM. It's using a TTL. It's using a digital TTL logic PPM or PWM signal. So it's not a PWM. It's using TTL. So, anyways, I've been playing with that one. It's kind of do that. I've been using my signal generators to create things to it. I haven't actually set up messed with the period values yet in the firmware.
I would like to see the 7 watt cut 1/8 inch plywood. I'd like to know how many passes it needs.
Yeah, I could try it here in a second. Let's just see it. While we're doing it, while we're all talking, I can throw it up there too.
Yeah, the 1/8 inch plywood is about the max. I mean, realistically, right? I mean,
Yeah, this is 1/4 inch.
You can keep going multiple passes through any thickness and clean it out with air assist, etc. But I'm just curious.
Well, you only have so much focal length, though. If once you get too thick, what happens is you'll start getting curvature and then you just get char and it starts. But this is 1/8. I think this is 1/4 actually. I think it's fine. Let me grab my calendar.
1/4 is too much. If you have some 1/8, I'd like to see how many passes and everything it takes to cut 1/8 inch plywood with the 7 watt laser.
Yeah, that's 1/4 inch.
That does interest me because I'd like to make handmade wood kayaks, and I use 1/8 inch plywood for that. I could cut.
I can tell you that 15 watt will cut through that in a heartbeat.
Oh, I know that will, but that's also about $1,100 to $1,200.
You know what's really cool too, you can do with this, so you can use Lightburn with this. I've been using Lightburn to do this stuff. So I have on my big lasers upstairs, I have Lightburn on them, and I'm using the big wide angle cameras. And so you can use them like a glow forge. And I don't use it very often, just when I have things, but I was like, hey, you know what? I have an extra one of those cameras. And right now it's literally duct taped to the top of one of my, presentation TVs over here. So I'm like, but you can take these, pretty far. And if we get it right, if we set up the right mic burn, you can tell my fancy mount there. But you could actually mount in a way where then and stuff, if you have, once you have it, you just say, you put your piece up there and you just tell it what you want. And this, they actually are, it does really good with Lightburn. My big lasers upstairs, it's within a tenth of a millimeter accuracy. It's not perfect, it's not, but it's for people who are just trying to like, hey, I just want this on somewhere. Okay. That'd be kind of cool. But another day, just another, not really a critical project, just a fun thought. Let me find some quarter, but, or eighth, should I say?
1/8 inch.
Yeah.
So you're running the laser just on Lightburn?
That's what he was saying, yeah.
What are you working on today, Casey?
Oh, I cut out new air vents. I posted that yesterday.
I saw that.
And I got to go get the metal components from. They have some of that. It has like little tiny fleur de lis and stuff in it. You know, it's a whole stamped sheet metal piece. It's all. You can get those at Lowe's, and that's Mama seen that on an Etsy thing or something like that. She wanted those, so we'll get those. Probably, I'm trying to get them done this weekend, but now it looks like I got to work through the week. That's a meeting Monday, so. I don't know. I was going to tell Matt it's Ixnay on the video again this weekend because now I got other things going on again. But hopefully I'll get those vents done.
That's life.
Well, I've got eighth inch, but it's the shower backer stuff, which is really dense and harder to cut. I don't have like for this. You're better off with birch, but I can try some of this and see. But I know this is a little bit tougher to cut just for my other lasers too.
That's a good.
But yeah, I got a shot. I have a bigger piece somewhere. I'll find a bigger piece.
Dan, did you get your centering plugs?
Well, FedEx says they'll be delivered today.
Okay.
If they drive by, though, I'll expect them Friday at this point.
Yeah, I went to order more PLA Plus for the little tinkering that I'm doing. And I don't know, has anybody noticed that Amazon isn't shipping 2-day delivery anymore?
They've been doing that for a while, but see what happens is I looked into that, and I had to call and I made a complaint because for some reason, how long have you had Amazon for? Have you had it for?
We've had Amazon Prime for a couple of years.
Okay, so have I. And see, and my mother-in-law lives 3 streets down and they just got it. And so when they go through Amazon Prime, same delivery guy, okay, I order the same product. Okay, it takes me like 4 days, 5 days. They get it in 2 days, but they just got an account like less than 7 months ago. So it's the same driver, it's the same route. So I called Amazon and I complained, and now since the last 2 weeks, everything has been coming in about 2 days, 2 to 3 days. I don't know what it is.
That's crazy stuff. I mean, we're here in a Houston base, right? We have an Amazon distribution facility, not far.
Mhm.
What the hell does it take 4 days to get here for? But I mean, it's just a week or so ago, we were still getting things on 2-day delivery. And I went in last night to order a new roll of PLA, and it's 4 days now. I thought, what the hell?
Every Amazon fulfillment center is different. You know, so you only like say for instance, if I want to sell something on Amazon, they don't distribute it to all the Amazon locations. Does that make sense? So it might come from, you know, Ohio, from a packaging plant from over here. It all depends. It's whatever's closer to you if they have it in stock. That's how usually Amazon works.
Well,
I'm like a
if
mile
some-
from the Amazon,
some
the huge one
manufacturers-
here. So pretty much 9% shit I buy is like next day. Like,
Yeah.
That's one thing I love about it because we're right on the airport, around the runway of the airport, and the distribution center where all the planes land is literally not too far down.
And some manufacturers, though, once they reach like a certain sales volume, they can qualify to ship their Amazon Prime orders themselves, and that's always an impact to the timeline.
Well, the PLA Plus that I'm ordering is Amazon Basics PLA Plus. So
You would think.
Oh yeah, No,
so it's
no,
Amazon shipping their own product, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna. So I don't know for the folks that are into 3D printing and stuff here in Houston. We have a company called Ziltech. They have 5 kilo spools of PLA. They call it the Texas spool. So I think that's what I'm going to start rolling with.
Hey, how much are those? How much are they running?
$82, and then for like $12 you can buy actually a bearing integrated rolling system for it. So that, because I mean it's going to be harder than hell to spin that 5 pound, that well no, that's 11-pound spool, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take a bit to spin that thing, where right now the small spools I get are 2.2 pounds, and they're the 1 kilogram or whatever. But they're literally 15 minutes from my house, so I'm just going to start going over there and getting the material from them, and hopefully at buying a 10 pounds at a time, then I only have to go refill once a month or something.
Right.
A lot easier. I was going to ask Dan. I know he was working on his frame there this week. We were going back and forth. Didn't know if he's got his frame built or not. He keeps walking away. You're not attending class, Dan. What the hell?
I'm a house husband. I have to do my laundry and dishes and make sure the boss is happy when she gets home too.
Hey, somebody's
But,
got something, right?
Yeah, no, we're in a pregnancy right now, and there's been some. My wife has a high risk pregnancy, and with the perinatal appointments and things like that. Yeah, unfortunately, kind of same thing. There's other contextual elements, constraints in my plans. But and it's good because I always win for procrastinating. Either at work the requirement will just come 180 degrees and go away, or in this case I'm just like I'm there might be an epiphany that comes to me before I get invested and start committing my materials that I have left in the house, in the shop. I just want to I want to do it once. That's probably unrealistic, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious if you got your frame up, everything was at least ready yet. You got the sled assembled?
Yeah, sled is done. Just going to line it when I get the pucks in, and I'm going to go with like the base frame like 10 feet wide, so I can handle the over travel of the sled, so it doesn't go off of the substrate. 12-foot beam, all that kind of stuff. Maybe even a little bit over 12 feet, because the space, we're having a house built in the room. I'm gonna have a room just for CNC machines outside of my garage shop. The noise, I hate the noise. I can have a separate room. Maybe some automatic fire suppression, I don't know. But yeah, I'm measuring out the room. I'm waiting from the drywall so I can see exactly how many inches I can come within the walls and be over 12 feet.
Nice.
Honestly, the M2 has been really good. I had an issue with the M1 with the Z getting stuck and almost catching the wood on fire, but with M2 I haven't had issues with. So, and a new one, the 2021 frame, looks really beefy.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And like I said, I'd like to do 5x5 sheets of the birch, the Russian birch. I don't know if you can get it there, but I love that 5x5 Russian birch. But I'm just like, I think I'll have a 9-foot tall frame if I do that. So, but we'll see.
With a 12-foot top beam, yeah, I mean you're going to raise that thing up another 4 to 7 inches plus your foot that you'll have for your. So yeah, you'll be up there. You'll be really close to the ceiling.
Yeah, it's just the rugby distributor for Albuquerque. I can't get like really good stuff. I can't get the Can USA Prem Core. I'd love to get my hands on that stuff, but they I'm gonna have to drive out to Phoenix with the flatbed and pick it up if I want it. Apparently.
If you need to get, just cut a hole on your ceiling. I guess you can't see it. I had some stuff I needed up there, so I just took a sawzall to one of the areas up there.
Well, and that's the other problem. I will have 9-foot ceilings in a new house. So if I build a frame here, we should be closing in July. If I build the frame here, then I might just be renovating the roof. Like I said, I'm procrastinating for a reason. I haven't figured it out why I'm procrastinating, but there's a real reason for it.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like about this building. So it's got 24-foot ceilings. It's just a big industrial, one of those concrete steel industrial complexes that they built out. And so when I got it, it's been nice. In fact, the whole reason that Maker made things up there, I was trying to figure out what they were doing. Whoever had done the build out before in this building, before I got it.
Yeah.
I guess you can say, but they had done. I just took a sledgehammer and knocked a hole through the wall. It was like, okay, and I looked through there, like, yeah, they did a drop ceiling in there. I'm gonna just take that out.
Yeah, mom was like, let me do that in a new house.
Yeah, you want to do that to your new house. What do you call it? But yeah, it's but yeah, it's. Let me see here. I got some 1/4 inch. It's medium board, but we'll see how it goes. Or 1/8 inch would be.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but I have to drop here in about 8 minutes. But I wanted to give everyone an opportunity. If anyone had any questions about the upcoming laser stuff, that way I can get all that addressed and make edits to our documentation that's coming out this weekend.
They had one. I'm about to cut some 1/8 inch just to see how it cuts, how many passes it cuts. I'm gonna cut square through. So we'll answer that one here in a few, Chris.
Awesome.
That picture I sent you of the giant Raspberry Pi you see in the background. So I recalibrated this thing, and the first pass I did it like 20, and I did it 2,500 millimeters, and so it went really fast, but it wasn't very dark. And so that time lapse I sent you, I finally actually calibrated this damn thing, and I rehomed it, had it resent back over, and went over exactly, like perfectly, the same spot. So like I thought I'd get a double line for where it went over, and so nice thing is too, if you once it's calibrated, like I didn't have issues at all. I mean, you can't see that there was 2 passes on there. It wasn't even 2 passes with the same job. I started another job and just had it rehomed and went back over.
Right.
At 80 power. So, and that, at 1/10 of a millimeter thick lines, you should be able to see it, and it went perfectly. So that's, at least there's good things there too. I'll do this 1/4 inch real quick, or 1/8 inch, I'd say. Yeah. Oh, you know what else I was thinking, Chris, too, since I guess I asked you that. So on my other ones, one of the things I have is on my, not to be a Lightburn thing, but something just as an interesting thought for later on to put. And I use the wide angle cameras on my big lasers upstairs, and it's actually pretty accurate. So with Lightburn, you line it up, you tell what it's going to do, you do the calibration plate around, and then you can drag and drop like a Glowforge. Your pieces on, and it updates the image in the background, and it's accurate within like 1/10 of a millimeter. It's pretty damn accurate. And I had an extra one of these. I was like, hey, later on, it'd be an interesting project to try to see enabling the camera function. But that would have to be through Lightroom.
Yeah, and we're looking at, so the V2 of Makerverse will have a image like background image. Very similar, like if anyone's used like Fusion 360, where you can import an image and set it as the background in your layout for a plane. We'll have something similar.
So that'd be perfect. Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, when you're ready to test that, I've got a bunch of those. Let me know.
Very cool. Well, if there's no laser questions, I'm going to go ahead and drop off for another meeting. And just love what you guys are doing. I think it's amazing how everyone gets on here and supports each other. And feel free to reach out if you have any deeper questions. But I'm going to kind of continue focusing on some of these Makerverse updates that we'll be pushing Friday night at midnight.
Hey, Chris, when is that Makerverse 2 coming out?
Makerverse 2 will be in alpha, hopefully sometime around middle to late next week. But Makerverse, the alpha will be specific to CNC. So laser will be in 1.2.0 of Makerverse. It will not be part of the alpha. But when we move into beta stages for Makerverse 2.0, that's when you'll start to see laser.
So 2, is this going to mainly be an update for lasers, but there's not going to be too much functional calibration changes with it?
So 1.2.0 is, you'll see fix the bug icons for the workspaces. We allow you to set a background color for your workspace if you like. And then there's a lot focused around the laser support and then trying to clean up some of the verbiage. And then Makerverse 2.0 is a really like widespread improvement on just how you control the machine. We're looking at being able to do like real time adjustment, as well as being able to move the machine in the workspace, as well as using jog commands. So if you have your workspace, there'll be the current sled position. You'll be able to actually just click somewhere in the workspace and tell the sled to go there, rather than using just the jog command. So like if you already know where you want it to go, you can just click there and it'll take the sled there, rather than having to figure out how many millimeters to the left and right, up and down that position is from the current position of the sled.
Thank you.
Let me mute my phone. Let me mute myself.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. And as we start to get these updates, we'll have laser. Will be live this Saturday. And the following Thursday's Zoom call, I will be in there for the entirety of the call, and I'll be able to do some software demonstrations of new Makerverse 1.2.0 and answer any questions everyone has along their new laser journey. Great. All right. Well, I'll let you guys get back to your CNC based conversations, and like I said, I'll be available, and I will be in the full call next Thursday to field questions related to the Makerverse update and anything CNC related.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. So apparently I'm procrastinating until Makerverse 2.0 comes out. That's what I'm going with. And they're going to fix all the soft limit problems, so I don't have to experience what Casey's going through.
It's not going to fix soft limit problems. It's not in it. I don't think he didn't.
You want soft limit stuff. Once you get used to it, because there's going to be times where if you override it until you're really used to your machine, you're gonna bust springs, you're gonna bust chains. if you're not careful, you're gonna bust things.
Well, yeah, like I said, I want to have a separate room dedicated for CNCing, if that's a word, CNCing. But
yeah. You can put limit switches in.
So Matt, I see you're on here. Are you working on anything? Lately?
No, I've been I did a quick sign for one of my friends. We went out to a restaurant for the first time since the pandemic, so I made a quick little sign for them with their names on it. But he looked at it and he's like, "Oh, okay," and he puts it aside. I'm like, "Dude, that's like I made that with like a CNC." So
It's
well,
kind
I
of like
guess, long story short, don't do that to people who don't appreciate it. I was like, I painted inside the cuts for his name, and then I stained it with some Danish oil, and I mean I put a lot of work into that. And I'm like, he just looks at it, he goes, okay, and he puts it on the side, and so.
It's
But
like yesterday after I was done cutting the new vents and everything for my wife. She comes out and I said, "Hey, babe, here you go. What do you think? You like these? Nice. They even got a little relief carving on the side and everything." And she walks over, she looks at him, she goes, "Yeah, they look good." Turns around, walks away. I was like, "Oh, damn woman, it is on." Yeah. Yeah, I just sat here for 4 hours cutting these, and
Yeah.
they're nice. That ain't working.
yeah, I
For
still
2 seconds.
need, I want to put French cleats on the other wall of the garage. So, but that'll involve me taking down my CNC, and then I'll be down for a little while. So I'm just dreading it, and I don't want to do it. I just want to leave the CNC up, but I want French cleats over there. So I've come up with a mount system that I think will work for my French cleats. Once I get them on the wall, then I'm going to mount the top bar on the French cleats, and it'll have the mounts for the bottom one as well, so they'll be always the same distance apart. But I haven't got around to it. I've got all the French cleats cut, they're all ready to go. I just have to disassemble the CNC to put them up, and I'm not ready to do that. So
I'm in the same boat. I got just right outside here, I got 15 rolls of insulation. You guys can see my garage, it's not insulated.
yeah.
Well, that's one of the things. This weekend I got to create a presentation, and we got family coming, and so mama wants the garage insulated and boarded up. So like, geez, the only way to do that though is I literally have to disassemble my entire shop and garage, put up insulation and wallboard and everything. And it's I'm just looking at that going, man.
Yeah, we have for ours, like we have a heating system. We have a big heating systems in the warehouses, but people, they started like, man, one of well, I guess like we should air condition the warehouse. Like, hell no. Like, you want it cool? Open the bay doors. Like that's your air conditioning system. Let's see here.
Yeah, for mine, I have all my printers and stuff out here as well. So whenever I run the printers, the humidity during the summer, it just wipes out a printer. So I got to put in HVAC. I got the new HVAC in. I just can't use it, or it just yesterday. I want to say it hit 89 or 90 here in Houston yesterday.
Yep.
And that AC unit just ran solid, and it still got warm in the garage. It wasn't hot, but it got warm. So to get it to cool properly, it's going to need installation and everything. That's just a given.
Casey, is that what they call a split? I'm not familiar with these yet, and my garage gets too hot to work in too. Is that what they call a split that you put in there?
Mini split.
Yeah.
Split.
Okay.
Yeah, this one here, I kind of got a good deal. I had to put in a new 5-ton in the house anyway. It was like 16 years old. And whenever they came over to quote us, and we had a bunch of other work done on the main and all that crap. So this right here was actually, with them doing the install, it was only like $2,000.
Oh, okay.
So that's not bad at all. And they did the mount on the back of the garage. It's actually mounted up off the ground on these brackets, and it's super quiet. So I don't have to
that one, Casey?
running and all that crap.
Okay.
What size unit is that one?
Shit, I knew somebody was going to ask that. I don't remember.
20,000 BTU or something, or?
It's not really big, but it's probably I want to say it's probably a 2-ton, somewhere in that range. And it's just for the garage. That's
right. Like I said, we're building a new house. I'm already planning these projects. That's actually on my priority list because we're in Albuquerque. Same thing.
Yep.
We've already had about 90-degree day once already. So, and yeah, we're during the design phase. I had them put tons of electrical in the garage in anticipation of all these projects. So, all right.
You definitely want them to put in an AC unit, and you'll just have to. I don't know if you guys. I mean, you guys have hot weather, but you have dry hot. We got kind of humid hot next to the ocean. Right?
You know, fire is dry also.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Here I'm looking for humidity control in the environment and to cool. Or if you're looking for just to cool, it's a dry heat and it gets hot, right?
No, I understand. When I got to Qatar, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and it was 100% humidity with like 110-degree heat, and it was after midnight. You know, that was something else.
Yep.
Well, it's hot outside. All the chickens have come into the warehouse to cool off. Sorry, but we've got this thing. I don't know if y'all ever used one of these AC units. I've got this one that one of my friends dumped. It works. He dumped it off on me, but obviously it would burn up trying to cool a warehouse with it. But I was using it for my trailer.
I had one of those in my last
Closed
shop.
trailer. Huh?
Yeah, I had one of those in my last shop as a 2-car garage, and actually, the car exhaust vent ports that they put in the garages. I actually used that for the exhaust on that mobile room.
Did it work pretty well?
No.
Because I have a 28-foot trailer, enclosed trailer out there I use for hauling stuff, and I use it sometimes as a little mobile workshop. I thought about just putting it in there and using it to cool that trailer.
I think it'd be good in a trailer, but my last shop was a 2-car garage, and it was about 400 square feet or something. And I even had it mounted up high with like box fans trying to distribute the air. No, it was just an exercise in spending money on electricity.
Yeah, that's one thing that's good about this building. Is I have 8 10-ton units, industrial units, so I have so many zones for this whole complex. So like for our 3D printing area, that I always keep AC, so I keep it dehumidified in those offices, and then the rest of it I'll just shut down. It's because I've got a bunch of offices upstairs sitting empty right now. I just shut all that down. I'm cutting that stuff. I'm doing 3 passes at 90 power to see how this goes. And
Nice.
let's see.
All right, give me 1 second.
No problem.
You know, it's funny.
Okay.
Funny.
I'm sorry.
I used to have a CNG bus, like one of those little shuttle buses in the front yard there. And I used to go in there and run that air conditioning because I used to have 2 units. And man, it was beautiful. It's really cool. I used to use it as an office, but we sold it. I'm going to get another one though. But man, they have the air conditioner, they pump it out. So if you get a chance to get one of those, I mean, like those shuttle buses, they really have the big.
I like being outside. I hate being in my office. I had some meetings this morning. I had to do some stuff this morning, but besides that, I avoid my offices like the plague. So I actually enjoy working out in the trailer or out in the warehouses more than I do there.
Yeah, I do too. I work outside a lot. Well, I'm in California, but it gets hot and cold here too. Everything in between. But yeah, I have a small garage, and I should send a picture of how I have it set up. So I'll probably do that when I can. But I actually want to set a second one up, but I haven't gotten the first one down yet. A second, M2. I haven't gotten there yet. Anyway.
So, Mr. Mike.
It's then cut in 3 passes at 90. So, and I'm doing 3 passes at 90, 150 millimeters a minute. So it looks like it got pretty deep though. We'll see what happens.
So, Mike Garza,
Yes, sir.
you have the. I was asking you about the printer. I was asking you about the slicer on board.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
I have no idea what the slicer is. I was talking about Drew today. I use Cura. So
Okay, so Kira is the slicer. So there's supposed to be a slicer in the handheld control.
yes,
in the printer.
there is in the new version, which is the 2.17. I have the 2.14 version of it. But yes, there is a slicer in there. I asked Drew this morning in the 3D call, and he said that there is a slicer in there. But I use Cura as a slicer.
Okay. How many people are joining those calls for the 3D units? Are there very many people in those calls?
Today there was nobody. It was just me and Drew. last week we had a couple, and then the last actually a few times we had a few, but there's not as many people. Like last week, it was only that. Well, last week it was about 4 or 5.
You're killing me with the 9. I say, well, y'all got to switch it besides 9 a.m. because the problem I have is we have our weekly meetings at 9 a.m. on Thursday. And so it's like, it's hard. Like 9 a.m. is a hard time because even like I usually either have client calls or other things like that trying to deal with. And so I try to join them, but it's like by the time I finally get out, it's like too late. So.
Well, the thing is all of these times are going to have to change with COVID going away. A lot of us are going to go back into work in the office every day. We can't join these things from the office. So, I think sooner or later, these meetings, doing them during the day at like 9 o'clock in the morning, it's just going to dwindle to nobody joining them.
Yeah. I got a question for you. So I mill a lot of stuff. So I have my little mills that I do. Sometimes we'll do like injection molds or things with HDPE. Has anybody been messing with HDPE on the Mazos? So it's a high density polyurethane. It's great because honestly, like I was playing with some injection. I was actually testing to see how it do with some rubber that we were injecting, and actually worked well. It didn't melt with the rubber. And so I've got big blocks I need to do. And I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna do it on the Mazda.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody's had luck with it or.
Yeah, I did
bought
blocks
2
of
boards.
UHMW. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I did blocks of UHMW. It's about the same density. It's still another polymer, right?
What speed were you doing? Were you doing pretty low speed or?
I was running mine because it's not. It believe it or not, it's more dense than wood. It's a hell of a lot more dense.
Oh yeah.
And it might be a softer material because it doesn't have the epoxy in it. But I was running mine at about 15, and I was getting a really smooth, nice cut.
As far as your router, because my bigger thing too is you have to be careful because when we run on our other mills, we run the spindle too fast, it will melt. And so it's not. I try not to bind it up. So with the routers, I didn't know if you were running the routers pretty slow RPM, or if you're running pretty high RPM.
I don't know the exact RPM, but I had my 2.2 horsepower running at number 3 on the knob.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. So
probably about 8,000 RPM. Those things are.
Yeah, I was figuring but you weren't doing max. You were doing in between there.
Yeah, I was doing around roughly probably 8 to 10,000 RPM, running at about 15 inches per minute on it with the same normal depth, the same normal. Yeah. But the other side of that is the bit. Don't use an upcut. Don't use a downcut. You got to just use a dual straight fluted bit. That cuts like butter. Anything else, it acts really weird. It actually wants to move the sled on you because it's so dense.
Yeah, that's a hard thing. So with my other CNCs, obviously I can do super high detail, but yeah, it's actually like a rigid frame. But it's the same cut. But yeah, I was gonna try one here and see. Thank you. That's good to know.
I haven't seen the sled move at all. Have you been cutting? I haven't been.
Yeah, I'm just doing a 50 by 50.
Oh.
I was gonna say I bought some cheap cutting boards because I thought they were HDPE.
Sorry,
they melted when I cut them with the CNC. I had to make some parts for my fridge, and I didn't use a straight bit like you're talking about, Casey. And I also probably kept it up pretty high, and I didn't turn down the thing enough. So when it was going through, it cut, but it melted, real bad, and didn't have a good cut.
Yeah, right in your cut, the cut surface right here. Yep. But I found it bubbled up right on the edges, and you left this melted bubble all the way along the edge of the cut, right? So then that's whenever I dialed it down and put in a different bit, and it actually looked like you were cutting MDF. It was so smooth. It was really nice. Yeah. So it took me a little bit, but to be honest with you, I've only cut that stuff probably 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And that stuff is so expensive. I mean, for a 12 by 12 sheet, you're talking over $100 if anything.
These sheets are $2,000 a sheet.
Yeah, really expensive.
Wow.
Now, some of these projects, and sometimes I'll do aluminum for some of these things. So some of these blanks, but For this project, the client just wants, it's not one we need to do super complex. It's a early prototype. And we have people that just like have an idea. They'll be like, okay, I'm gonna take my quick design that I just did real quick in Tinkercad, and I'm gonna send this to manufacturing. And they'll go, I've had people literally went and paid $20,000 to have injection molds made for something they did. I'm like, and then they're like, it's not working. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, they didn't tell me that. I'm like, yeah, it goes fast. They're not going to tell you that. You give them a design, they're going to just do it. And so anyway, so I try to get them like, look, let's just play with this stuff. It's cheap. It's cheaper than doing and see what you get going. But yeah, it's going a little bit there. Let me see. But on the cutting boards, Dollar Tree. I love Dollar Tree, and they have actually some good bamboo ones right now for $1. And so I've been buying blocks of those because they're good. They're good, like 15-inch by 15-inch, and so good for projects or just I don't know, cutting boards that you can etch.
How big are they?
They're actually pretty good size. They're like 15 inches by 12 inches. They're pretty good size. I got some upstairs. I'll grab them in here in a second. And it's actually decent quality. It's actually they're strong. They're not. And so it's perfect for for $1. It's great for practice material. It's great for all kinds of stuff.
That sounds like
Sure.
a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll grab one after.
I'll tell you, I used to go and I go on a couple government surplus stores, sites, and they had some places, some colleges that sell like tons pallet of cutting boards used.
Yeah.
You know, those ones you're talking like what are they called? The plastic, the HDP, whatever. And I wanted to buy it, but I'm like, what am I gonna do with all this stuff? It's funny because they were really big. They weren't like the little ones. They were like big, and some of them were damaged. But I bet they're probably other side you probably could use if you want to cut something. But keep your eye in the surplus areas because you'll see that stuff pop up. And I'm like, well, like I said, what am I going to do with 100 cutting boards?
Yeah.
But you get them cheap. Real cheap.
Well, like he was saying, practice or that HDPE is really good. It doesn't have a lot of friction when you make joints and stuff. You can make
Cool.
bearings out of that and things. I think it'd be really cool to practice on. But I'm even thinking about this bamboo. I mean, that would be kind of neat. I haven't even cut bamboo yet, so I'd be interested in that too.
That'd be a
Here's
perfect
the small
little
ones. If you want to take a screenshot, there's the barcode. Because if you go to Dollar Tree, you can go online, have them deliver a bunch of them to your store.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
That's
Yeah,
a great idea, Drew. That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, like 9% of our little test stuff is, and I use the little foam board too. This little foam, like for school presentations. Because if you go to like Office Depot and stuff, those things are like $8 a pop. At Home Depot, they're $1. I mean, not Home Depot. At Dollar Tree, they're $1. And I use that a lot of times when I'm doing rapid prototypes and stuff or laser cuts before we actually cut all the acrylic or anything else. I'll do it out of the foam board, see how it looks, and then it's cheap. But yeah, and they're actually good quality. I mean, this is the small ones, but.
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah, a couple of different ones.
Yeah. Mike, Casey's right. Once we go back to work, I don't think I'll be able to join all these meetings and stuff because I'm on my personal computer here, and this is my lunch break. So you might want to start thinking about like when we can meet and stuff because I'd love to keep coming to these, but once we go back to work, man, I'm not going to be able to dial in or do it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll mention that today we have a meeting and stuff, and so
yeah,
I'll
just
mention
at
that
least discuss it, start the conversation. So
Yeah, I barely cut through, but I don't have an air assist on this one too. The other thing nice about that 15 watt down there is that air assist. But honestly, like this is. I mean, I guess if you were doing big pieces, that 15 watt would be worth the money. But what do you call it for this stuff for scoring and all that? But that's pretty. If you made, I was trying to make an air assist. I've got some stuff to make an air assist for it. I just haven't done it. But even with an air assist, I doubt it's gonna cut through that.
You don't think the 7-watt will cut through an 1/8-inch board?
Not that one. Not from what I'm getting, because I'm not getting very deep at all on that. But again, I don't have an air assist on it.
Okay.
Sorry, let me see if I can zoom in on this thing. Let's see. Sorry.
Yeah, because that's a complete bummer.
Well, sometimes I've been able to get someone to cut, but I may also need to play with the focal length on that one too. But let's see here. Got my camera controls here real quick. Sorry, holding a rooster to keep him quiet. Name it, camera. Really. You can't really tell, but it's not very deep at all. Like it's not even a tenth of a millimeter, or probably half a millimeter, should I say? Sorry, deep, with 6 passes.
Now those
But air assist will make a big difference, though. Air assist does make a huge difference when you use them on lasers.
Yeah. So the lasers that you guys are getting from JTech, are they the Pro laser or are they just their standard 7-watt laser?
I don't know. That'd be my question or Chris' question. The one I'm testing right now, I think, is their standard 7-watt.
Yeah, because the 7-watt Pro will cut through 1/8. I've physically seen it myself.
I forget which one I'm using right now.
Let me see. I'll let you know right now. Give me 1 second. Let me see what I can find out.
Yeah, it looks like I'm using a 7-watt Pro. Yeah, I'm running the 7-watt Pro right now.
Yeah, and you want to, that is a major issue for those people that understand lasers, right?
Yep.
So tell them that it's the Pro, it's the JTech 7-watt Pro, not the JTech 7-watt. There
Yep.
is a big difference. So
Well, right now my focal length isn't perfect either.
Well,
sorry.
whatever documentation Chris is putting together, he was asking earlier, that's something I think he should put in there. But I think it'd be good for MakerMade to have something out there that shows cutting capability versus etching capability, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. That's what's nice about this one too, because honestly, I can push my other lasers pretty hard. And one thing I liked about this one, though, the price on this one's really high, like I said, but they do have a nice little setup for the air assist. And this one I could push pretty deep. And the focal system on this, whereas that JTech, it is a set focal length, a 3mm focal length. So like the mounts I made right now, I've just laser cut some acrylic mounts to set that. But so this one you could technically adjust the focal length a little bit. And that's gonna make a big difference. So because like on my big lasers, I have different lenses for different projects and what I'm using, like 2-inch lenses. I have different things, and like these, obviously, you're not gonna be putting different lenses and things in. But for my regular CO2s, but I think honestly, it's gonna be, because you have people that have never used lasers jumping into this. They're not gonna understand. Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm actually heading into the office today for a meeting. I got to go in and get ready and everything. So I'm going to have to jump off the meeting, and I'll see everybody next week.
Yeah. Hey, one of these days when I'm in Houston, Casey, I want to swing by and say hi.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Katy, so I grew up not far down the street. So.
Hey, Drew, I sent you a message right now on Zoom.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see here. Chat. Oh, cool. Yep. Let me. Sorry, I'm on a. Your episode. My cell is 830-433. Sorry, I'm on a Facebook portal just because it has a good camera system. It's easy, and I have them on cards.
830.
433. 185. Yep. 433-1851.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So if y'all are up here too, feel free to come by. I pretty much live here. I don't have a choice. Either pay the bills or lose everything I own. But what do you call it? But no, it's fun. But yeah, we've got tons of space. So and half the crap is just I'm always experimenting. So if y'all have things, that's why if y'all have things y'all are playing with, I love just playing around. So too, that's for my free time.
Where are you located?
In San Antonio, right by the airport. So I got a big industrial complex over there. My wife kicked me out of the house. So she said no shit's in the house. No, our garage is still full. I didn't get our garage out. So I got an industrial complex over here. That's by this year she says she has to go park her car in the garage by the end of this year, or I'm in trouble. But yeah, so I've got stuff over here. I've got Casey, milling section, woodworking, all that stuff. So yeah. Cool, guys. Well, should I see you, Casey?
I gotta get back to work too, so I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot.
Take care, Matt.
All right, see ya.
Yeah, I'll go. Any other questions or anything else I can help anybody else with? I guess. Or,
well, I'm a newbie, and I had a basic question. It sounds really. I'm glad actually you guys are here still. This sounds weird. Okay, so I got like I set everything up, the scaffold. I got a first cut using easel. I took an image, the Maslow sign, and got it in there. But I didn't calibrate. I just started. I basically brought it in, SVG file, generated the code, brought it into Makerverse, and I got a partial cut. Do I have to calibrate it first? Nothing. It worked fine, but it didn't print the whole. Should I have to do through like actual? I mean, it seemed like a lot of measure.
So let me put it this way, like this. So I have a couple of them. So I have, I guess there's another one back over here, but I have this one over here. It's really as well. It's been super calibrated. I use this one for a lot for different projects. So I don't mess with that one. I don't mess with calibration or testing things with it. This one's been kind of my test bed. It's that I'm playing with. You can see all like the scopes and other crap. We've been playing with different things with. So for the last like 6 months, I have not had this one calibrated. I've just been running it uncalibrated. And you'll get things like if you don't calibrate, you'll get weird things like even though it's straight, it was kind of coming off a little bit. So it was, which I knew, but it's like I didn't bother because I was just doing tests. I just want to see how I was testing just the laser cuts. So for this, finally now we've got some of this other stuff. I finally got around the other day and really calibrated. And you want to make sure your backboard is square with this, so make sure on both sides like they're exact. And when you do, it does make a huge difference. Just like and so with some of your packs, it can make it like your milling projects, but like with this one with the laser, I was able to. I don't know if I get this close enough, but these are really thin, like 1 millimeter lines. So I did this one. Then I had rehomed, turned everything off, and the next morning I was like, it only can't. I did like 40 power, so like, you know what? I'm gonna run this back over, and with lasers especially, because you're talking, and it went. With calibrated, it went back to the exact same spot when I re-uploaded the file, re-put it in, and had it start again. I mean, you cannot see double lines where the laser went past twice. And so it does make a huge difference to calibrate. So if you want to do things, you don't have to. There's gonna be things, but if you're trying to go edge to edge or pieces where you need to be precise in there, it's worth it. And honestly, it's not that bad. If you really sit down and do it, probably about 2 hours to really calibrate it. And with the M1, it could be with the old setup, it could be a kind of pain because if the power got cut off, something like that, you could lose calibration. With M2, you're pretty good. Once you really have it calibrated, you're pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean,
I
was saying it did the Maslow sign, like the little insignia, the little M and stuff. Did a wonderful job on it. I mean, it's just that I had to kind of like the only one I noticed it started up and it wasn't like the Z axis wasn't. It didn't go in. I had to manually kind of turn it with my hand to kind of make the gear go against the wood, and it carved it out. And I was like, okay, cool. And then, but like I said, I had the whole board Maslow, or whatever it's called, Maslow, but it didn't do that part. I don't know if I didn't turn the router on fast enough, or I just whatever. But it was my first cut,
Your Z-axis isn't calibrated, so it doesn't know where your max and min is. So it's happening even if it's dropping. It may not be dropping into there, or it's hitting a soft limit because it thinks it's all the way. It thinks it's all the way at the bottom when it's not. So it's hitting a soft limit and not dropping.
But that's part of that. Yeah, that's part of that calibration.
It is.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. Like
that will make a difference too when you want depth. It's important to calibrate that piece.
I built mine similar to yours. I have it on wheels, but mine's kind of like more like. I built them on a 2x6, and it's like I have like a back shelf, and I have the computer in the back. So the problem is I have to get up and walk around. So I have to like basically do it so I can see it from the front. Like I'm kind of like I wanted the back of the rooms. I don't have as much space, but I store a lot of crap on the back there, like a scaffold. But I want to build a second one against the wall.
Yeah, it's actually this one behind me right now, which is actually kind of. So you can see the monitor off to the side. But yeah, I have the computer mounted behind it too, and then I have behind it. I built like the trays behind it. So yeah, the back of it is actually also storage.
Yeah,
so
I like that.
If I turn it around, there's racks. I built racks behind it, like, store stuff behind it. Right.
Yeah, that's kind of like how I have it. Yeah.
So
I had a bunch of 2x6s, and I didn't want to cut them down. And frankly, wood is so expensive. I figured I'm always taking stuff apart and putting things back together. So I figured, well.
One thing I'd recommend doing too is get one of these shower backer boards. Because I just put this on top of my wasteboard. That way, like when your wasteboard gets messed up stuff, you don't have to deal with your wasteboard. Like that poor wasteboard on the other one I was just showing you, is beat to hell, and wood can be expensive. It said so. This stuff, $12-$15 a sheet, or was. I'm sure it's still pretty damn cheap. But
I think I use that. I use a hardboard. You mentioned the shower. But I use a thing called a hardboard. It brown like that.
Yeah, and there's that too, which is perfect. Yeah, there's that, which is this stuff. Yeah, that's stuff. There's this stuff too. So I have my 3/4 inch. I have my thick 3/4 inch main backer board, just so I have a nice sturdy,
Yeah.
setup. And then, sorry, I'm trying to run wires around right here. I keep moving so much crap around, but
Yeah, I have a 3/4 inch board on back of mine, and it's kind of I have it screwed on so it kind of prevents rigidity. And then I put the thin board, and then over it I did like a 1/4 of an inch cut material.
Yeah,
so
that works beautifully.
Yeah, but I was gonna say too is how do you you have that thick material that you use, that thicker plastic, that stuff you were showing us?
Mm-hmm.
How do you put that on there and get it to sled to sit? You have to bring wood out to kind of match it so that you can't.
I'll jig it, and stuff like that. I have my planer. I'll plane some boards so that way. And I won't do it solid, but what I'll do is I'll do it where the boards are there. Not enough where the sled will catch, but just make a little grids.
Okay.
And I try to keep the design right to it, so the sled's not going outside that design too much. That won't have to do a whole area, but you can just do about a good 6 inches around it.
But when you move that material out, does it affect the chain, because you're basically coming out more proud of where there lives a
Yes. When you're
okay.
coming that far out, but you can. It's not. You can adjust your frame. You can adjust your sled. Now, if you were doing a huge sheet, that would be bad. So usually, since I'm doing smaller sheets, what I'll do to kind of kill that effect as much as possible, I'll keep it right in the middle, and that seems to work. Or keep it a spot where low enough where I can keep that sled.
You probably already thought of this, but I guess the other way you go too is go into the material. So if you have 2 inches thick, you go flush, but the material is on the back of the board, so it's kind of you're going, instead of coming out, you're putting it flush, but behind the board. You see what I'm saying?
I actually have another. I was actually going to do that for this stuff. I was actually going to cut a hole in this and then put a frame behind it where this just gets set into it.
Yeah.
I have so for these, if I end up doing, I have some big mills too. I have some massive 10-ton, 12-ton mills in the other room that are big 5-axis. But those but they're a pain to run for the stuff like this. So but for this block, where I was thinking if I end up having to do 20 of these, that's what I was gonna do. I just cut a hole in there, put some 2x4 behind it, so it's the right depth, and just set it right in there. That it's just.
Do you do a lot of signs for businesses? Is that what it's for? I don't know what it's for. How do you?
Yeah, I do. We do early stage prototyping, and I do different fabrication. So I get. I used to look rough now. I used to actually be a tech executive. So you've seen Bird and Lime. I used to be the CTO of one of the scooter companies, and so I started as a tech executive for years and did tech startups for years. So, and I ran the tech division. So then I finally got burnt out and have gone completely the opposite of being corporate, as you can tell. Yeah. And so, but yeah, so I was like, hey, I've bought up a lot of companies over the years, some of these different tech companies over the years, and so I was like, well, we'll just start a prototyping company, and it makes my wife happy because I didn't keep piling shit in the house constantly.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. So, but no, yeah. So it's a love in fashion. It's hard. Prototyping is a pain because people always expect I have people come and they'll be like, hey, I need a fully developed product, or they'll come in and be like, hey, I've got this I built real quick, or I have this design. I've got $500. Can you get me a mold made? I'm like,
yeah.
And it's and the designs are designed where it's gonna be super complex, 6-part molds. I'm like, you gotta rethink your design. So, so mostly this is just about I try to help and stuff like that, but also it's a lifestyle business, I guess. But
sure.
But there's things I love, this other one, my first one. I guess that mouse all over there. My wife asked me what I wanted for Father's Day a couple of years ago, and I was like, I want a Maker Made so bad.
Sure.
And then obviously I got a little obsessed with Maker Made. So.
No, I like your setup. It gives you inspiration. I like your suggestion off the board too about the board. I'm looking for materials like that too. So for sure.
No, they're great. And there's some amazing frames. One thing that's wonderful about Maker Made is you're on Facebook. I know they're working on some other forums. They have amazing groups. They have amazing communities. So the people you just saw on this call on the Zoom, and then there's on the line, you'll see all kinds of crazy frames. Honestly, I have base. There's people that have amazing M2 set,
Yeah.
same time.
Well, you know,
It's,
well, you know what's funny is like this might sound weird, but I don't even see a lot unless I missed it. They don't really say like they don't walk you through step by step on how to actually go from unless I missed it, you know, like easel to you know, I've seen parts of it, but not like anything definitive, or they've reissued it. And it seems confusing, you know, like just like you know, it seems like you really have to learn by just trial and error.
There are some, so there's some good, they do have some, there actually is some interesting pieces, but this is one of those things that went from before the Maslow, before Maker Made, because there's been Maslows around, but there wasn't, you could do your own kits and stuff like that, but it wasn't easy to do this before Maker Made really took it to a whole nother level, where before Maker Made, and before Maslow, you were spending $50,000 on shop bot. You think this is complicated? So when you work with shop bots and some of the other mills I have, it's a nightmare. And then they really took the Maslow idea, and Maker Made really turned it into something that's pretty easy. And even like if you look at how the calibration went from the original calibration to the new calibration and 122 and the new things they're doing, they've even simplified it so much more. Like the calibration and Makerverse 112 is awesome, honestly.
So what?
And so it's getting better.
Do you use a Mac or Windows or Linux? What do you use to run yours?
Both. I run like I have some Pi setups. My background was embedded architecture, embedded devices, and high performance compute clusters. That's where I ended up being in the tech stuff, but I do. So right now I have a lot of data center stuff. So like these are all PCs. They're like 5th gen Core i7s that, and honestly, if you go to Goodwill now, you can find them for dirt cheap and stuff like that. And just with 8 gigs of RAM. But there's also the Pi image, the Raspberry Pi image, which is really cool. And then for a lot of stuff, I use Mac for some of the design stuff. So I have my Macs. I have like all my main workstations are Macs, and then the machines are all PC stuff, because we have some of this stuff. It's better to be running Windows anyways for the mills. There's different things you can't. Well, there's some CAM stuff for it, but it's not really great.
I did buy a little used refurbished Mac Airbook, like older one.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, it runs great. I mean, you know.
No, that's the way to do it. That's one thing that's beautiful. Like there's some of the stuff it may not be like perfect step by step. Like there's things like with the Glowforge, but where they made it super easy, but you're also pretty limited. Like with the Glowforge, like I love my Glowforge Razor, but the thing is that all right, I've been moving stuff around like crazy. But
no worries.
I used to be a combat engineer in the Marine Corps, so I was going through and we did testing for body armor. So giant pile of body armor. I had a contract where I was testing smart sensors for body armor. They gave me 1,000 vests. And so afterwards, we were literally blowing them up because we didn't know what to do with them. We had so much body armor at one point.
You know what's funny is we're thinking of moving actually to Texas, like everybody else. I'm in California.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's but yeah, the big lasers up there. You can see the big lasers, and you can see my fancy ducting system, which is a bunch of duct tape and we call it dry roses. I just gave up. I didn't feel like running. I started running up to the air vent about there. So, but
I work outside a lot, so I don't have ducting, you know.
Yeah, I've got I think 12,000 square feet of offices up front, but I avoid it like the plague. I go in my conference rooms every now and then when I need to do stuff, but like the linear systems, they do the mill here, or the CNC plasma, which is basically like the Maker Made plasma cutters, and it's cool, but even compared to how Maker Made did it, like. This was not a simple setup or anything, and not to get started. And they have detailed YouTube videos and stuff like that. It's still not a quick thing to get people up on. It's once you really figure it out, it's a little bit of a learning curve to learn. But the nice thing too is everything you'll learn with the Maker Made, it really translates. So the stuff you're learning with the Maker Made, you can translate across the CNC plasma later for your laser, so that translates. And even the big mills, like I've got my big huge mills, which
so do you use easel and Makerverse? Is that pretty much it on the
I use Makerverse. I use and Fusion 360 and Illustrator for depending if I'm doing. I use Illustrator a lot for just doing the vector stuff, but yeah, and then honestly, Tinkercad for some things. I love Tinkercad, but there's things you could Tinkercad's will be a little bit harder for using with the MATLAB, but yeah, Easel's great. I mean, we have guys that I have new employees I've just had come in and say, hey, look, teach themselves, and they don't teach themselves and get things going.
Cool. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, you'll have fun. I mean, and the nice thing is like I guess there's a little note back there. Like there's some Shapeos. I have a Shapeo back there and some ones upstairs, and all that stuff translates great. And honestly, like we're talking about the plastic. Instead, I usually use some of my Shapeos for doing these type of molds and things. And I'm gonna play with doing it with the MATLAB because they're really precise, and that's where the calibration comes in handy.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna definitely do it. I said I've been kind of putting it off. I just want to see it cut something. It took a while for me to get in there. I had problems with the firmware. Mike helped.
I don't know if they're still. I don't know if any of the Maker-Made employees are still in here, but they're amazing. Honestly, part of the reason why the only association with the company is I'm an evangelist for them. And I have a few companies where I have a bunch of machines. I have hundreds of machines, and there's some companies that have been like really crappy, and Maker-Made's been awesome. Their support's awesome. Their team's awesome. They've been so kind. And so if you have questions, email them, talk to them. They have really good people. I was so impressed. And for me, it makes it easy for my business because when I need to do things, if my team needs support, things like that, they're great about it. So that's one good thing about products.
Yeah, my experience is that they answer me pretty immediately and done everything I've asked, nothing, they were very helpful. I couldn't.
Yeah, that's one thing because I had my Glowforge. I had all my Glowforge die on me, and it was like a week out of warranty. And they were like, I called Glowforge, and they were like, "Oh, too bad. There's nothing we can do for you," stuff like that. And I was like, "Really?" I was like, and they're like, "Yeah, just pay $4,000." And luckily, we had some news because we had designed ventilators. We donated ventilators to donate some ventilators to the city when COVID first started. And so they finally were like, okay, they saw the news story, like, okay, fine, we'll help you. They still charge me $1,000 for the replacement board, which is crazy. Whereas like Maker-Made's been super helpful. I have some Dremel 3D printers, which honestly right now my new favorite printers, the Maker-Made's M300s. They're awesome. But I had a Dremel that went bad, and Dremel. And it was 2 years. Well, first time it went bad is I burned up the extruders and stuff, and I burned. And they're their extruders kind of like we call it MakerBots extruders, where they're all packaged in one. So I called them. I was like, "Hey, I just need to buy a new one." And they're like, "What happened?" I was like, "Well, honestly, I overrode the firmware and I ran it way hotter than I was supposed to." So I was like, "It's not a warranty issue. You can not worry about that." And they're like, "Oh, no problem. Don't worry about it." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "I'm out of warranty and I voided the warranty." And they're like, no problem. And they sent me a new one. Overnight, a new one for free. And then a couple months later, a new head. And then a couple months later, the firmware, I guess they had a bad firmware go out, and I was at that point 2 years out of warranty. And it died. And I called, and they were super kind. And like, I was like, yeah. And so they're like, well, you can send it back. I was like, yeah, I can just pull the board. I'm like, oh yeah, if you want to do that, they're like, you know what you're doing? I was like, yeah. So they didn't mind that. And then they still, even out of warranty, took care of it for me. Nice. But and they were pretty decent. But the M2 or the M300s are way better than like the Maker-Made ones are awesome. And the firmware they've done, it's running on the Octopi. It's really cool. Like is
that their printing machine?
Yeah, the 3D printer. It's awesome. If you want a 3D printer, that is like there's the Dremel, the support was great and everything else, and it's a neat printer, and it has some neat stuff, but the Maker-Made one's so much better. It's like it's so cool, and the setup and what's the platform it's built on, everything is just it's awesome. Oh yeah, here you go, Mike's showing one. Oh yeah, hey Mike, you're still on?
Yes sir.
Awesome. Yeah,
I know. I went onto the Maker site. You guys have like the Maker 2 on sale now for $998. I don't know if you'll see that.
It was on sale. I don't know if it's on sale right now. It might be extended. Really? They might have extended it for a couple of days.
Oh, I see. Because of the Mother's Day thing, I didn't even say like it just shows it as a discount. It doesn't say anything else. You know?
It's awesome. Like I have I have a whole 3D printing set up in here. I think I have like 60 3D printers, and I've been 3D printing for since. I still have some ones that are 10, 12 years old since they first really open source things, and it's awesome. And down here, if you're, it's hard to see in the corner. That's a $45,000 object 3D printer over here. SLA. It does microns. And that thing is such a nightmare and so expensive to print with. It's, as you can see right now, it is a $45,000 weight. So, but so there's even from high end, some really high end enterprise machines to all the way to like low end, like little home ones. And yeah, the M300, they did an amazing job with it. By far, it's really cool.
I'm gonna look into. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I have to look into it.
Yeah, because we have the other ones too. Is like the replicators. You'll see the MakerBots. Avoid MakerBots like the damn plague. Unless you want to pay. I've got so many MakerBots. $300 extruder or $279 extruder. Extruders. You can build these for like $20, but they purposely chip them. They're cool looking. Everything else. Avoid Maker. Just. I said that it's 300. Like if you get into 3D printing, 300's like far my recommendation now for people.
Cool.
So, but yeah,
I'm gonna look in there for sure. Cool.
But, no, I don't know if you'll have any other questions. I think thank you.
No, I have so many, but I don't have any more. I was trying to write them all down, but I appreciate your help a lot. I mean, showing me all that stuff too, because it helps me, get better to learn more.
It is fun. Once you get that learning curve going, like at first it's a little bit, but then all of a sudden you'll just all of a sudden once you start getting it down, it'll be within a month of playing, you'll have it. It'll be like second nature. It's not like some things where it's like constant like fight, and with all machines we're gonna have like little battles with them. I have 50 of the same printers, and I'll have the exact same firmware, everything exact same. They all each have their own personality. So.
Well, I said I set it up. I mean, I set up the scaffold and I put the chains on and everything runs. It doesn't hop off or no weird bouncing. It's just it's the connectivity side and getting things in there that I can run. But I mean, I'm doing the calibration, but I haven't had any like major problems. Everything's on the 15-degree angle that it needs to be. It's lined up very nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, the nice thing too, even if you're off a little bit, like mine, I finally adjusted my frames. My frame wasn't square. that one I was showing you where I finally calibrated too. Like my frame wasn't square. I had quickly built that one a while back, and so I finally readjusted the square, got it all framed. And it took 2 hours.
Craig, you didn't calibrate it at all. You just started using it.
Well, I started to get into the calibrator. I started to walk through it, and I'm like, it wants you to. Here's what I was saying earlier to Drew that what I did is I designed some of the ones that he like what he has, where it's on wheels, but I did about a 2x6. And basically, what I did was it's so heavy because I use the back of it as storage. So I have to walk. I put the computer on the back, and I'm walking around back and forth, and I just haven't like set up like a proper workstation where I can sit there and do the calibration in front of it. And I'm like, I want to get this thing running. So I just kind of like. Went through the calibration and just, okay, next. And I didn't really do anything. And then when I ran like my first little G code, whatever cut, it did the Maslow sign really well. I had like 1/4 inch material. It did a really nice job. But I have to go back and actually calibrate it because I think that, it would actually benefit. The Z axis didn't go in and out. I had to like manually turn the screw to get the router to make contact with the board,
Yeah, you need to be calibrated.
Yeah, and I don't. And I hate to say it, but there's a lot of information out there. But sometimes, and I didn't even know this. The USB drive has stuff on there that I didn't even know that like walks you through it. I didn't know to look at the USB drive you guys include. I thought it was just extra for, and so it's I want to build another scaffold, but I want to put it against the wall and maybe do the 12-foot chunk to have a larger wall. And maybe build a second one at some point soon.
One thing I would recommend doing too is if you go look at like the auctions, like at local auctions. So I get these at medical auctions. These carts are super expensive. These even actually have battery backups in them, and you have lockers and stuff like that. So they're standing sitting, so I can pop them up. And the other ones I'm using are electronics.
How much did you get that for?
I got $20 a pop.
Yeah.
Got it.
With the 24
I'll give you 30.
I'll give you
Yeah.
30.
I actually, if you want some, I've got tons of them. If you're ever, if we're
Hey,
in San
I'm
Antonio, I'll give
actually.
you one.
That's why. Hey, I'll be in San Antonio on Saturday.
Yeah, if you want to come up, I've got one. I'll give you.
Yeah,
I've got one.
I'm going to. I'll probably come back. Well, I'm going actually to Arkansas.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I've got 60 of them sitting out back right now because I use them for all the casters are nice because casters are expensive too, and they've got
That's
really
right.
nice casters. And so I have these. These are the Electrons. Right now I'm using everything on here is on these cards, as you can tell.
It's
But,
funny.
they're
first thing I-
awesome.
is
the
that
first
what
thing
you
I saw-
have right now? Is that what you have right now for the camera?
Yep, that's what's rolling around the camera. I'm trying to think if I can. Let me find. I show a mirror. If I had a mirror somewhere, I can show you what
It's
it was.
funny
but
because when I first saw those, I thought to myself, "Oh, they look like medical cards."
yeah, they are at the hospital. So what happened with our hospital? What's crazy is they paid like $3,800 a pop for these things. The hospital, they with a new HIPAA compliance, they can't do wireless, so they just dumped all the cards. In fact, most of these that I got were brand new. They've never actually been used. So I was wrapping them. I was like, it was
That's
insane.
awesome.
So, but yeah, we cut. I had mirror, but yeah, it's neat. They're on. Yeah, but yeah, they cut.